There's no better experience to have with a student as a teacher than going on a mission trip, because you just see this amazing life change of serving people that are in dire need, that are very less fortunate than we are. I had a student a few years ago who we went to Kenya together, and we came back, and his life mantra was, "I'm completely changed from this." I knew that I lived in a nice area, I knew that I came from a wealthy place, I knew that I was very lucky to have the people in my life that I did, but I didn't know how lucky I was. And I think that when students see that, and students that I've been with see that, and they come back, they start living their life a little bit more purposefully.
Our philosophy in the middle school is best summarized by a phrase that you will hear over and over: grit and grace. We have to be able to require a great amount of grit from them that's going to enable them to be successful in the upper school, and at the same time give an extraordinary amount of grace as these teenagers venture through adolescence trying to find their way.
I tell anybody that asks me about my job, and I always tell people that I love my job, and you can't do something really well unless you really, really love it. And obviously you need to be good at it, but you have to love something to really put your whole heart into it. And I think that the families are what make it something that's worth being a part of, because it's not just the families that have students here, it's the staff. We support each other like family, and we become a part of those children's lives, and they're a part of our lives.
We know from 21st century models that communication, collaboration, creativity, all of those kinds of skills are the things that businesses and colleges are really looking for. And I think relationships, close relationships, facilitate all of those things. Students who come through Pisgah who already have close, positive relationships with their teachers are going to go to college and ask more questions of their professors. They're going to get to know those professors. They're going to get the wisdom and synergy that comes from knowing them to be able to advance their own research, participate in research, get into graduate school, get their letters of recommendation. So it starts here.
The way the culinary lab came about was I was sitting in a 4th grade math class. And this teacher was using the smartboard, she was using manipulatives, she was using every strategy appropriate to teach fractions, and they were still struggling. I thought if we could get the students involved with cooking, that would really reinforce some of the skills with fractions and math, and then we could expand that to science. You can expand it to culture, geography, and it just was the avenue that was appropriate to really enrich the curriculum.
It's a very exciting time to be a history teacher right now, because it's looking at who we are and where we've come from, and it's a lot about telling stories. But I say a lot of the time that the material itself is almost incidental to what I do. It's almost secondary, because what I'm really trying to do is help my students master the idea of how to use information. It's no longer about just sucking it in, absorbing it, and then regurgitating it, but analyzing it, making use of it.
We are able to teach a lot of things on the field, on the court, but it's really most important is what we're teaching them, in the big picture. And we are blessed to have coaches that see that and that can do that. There's always going to be challenges for each student athlete, and it's not always going to be the most fun thing when they're facing some adversity. And so it's really important for them and for us to instill in them that they can always find comfort, they can always find the strength from their relationship with God, even when it's hard to come home and talk to the parents about something that's going on, or your teacher or your coach. But ultimately we want to do this in this environment that where we're praying every day and doing great devotions, but we're also putting those things into action.
One student, I guess from 2 years ago, wrote me at college, while she was at college, she wrote me a Facebook message, and she's like, "Hey, Ms. Keller, this lesson came up, or this thing happened at school, and what you said in Bible class, I was able to remember that and really made a difference, and was able to speak truthfully to some of my friends in regards to that."
I've really been impressed with our faculty. I think they really live the mission in their daily walk. I think they're extraordinarily nurturing and embrace children, and I think they integrate their love of Christ into how they teach and how they support and nurture students, whether they're in the preschool or in the upper school.
The really great thing about Mount Pisgah is our current students love new students. They get so excited, especially in the elementary school when we have new students on campus. If I'm taking a student to a class to shadow, that's when a student will come in and visit for the day before they come here. All the students raise their hand because they want to be that student's buddy for the day. They want to be the one to show them where the lunchroom is, to show them where the specials classes are, to help them out in the classroom. And it's just great to be in a school where everybody wants to be the new kid's best friend.